Let's talk about chapter 270. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, but spoiler warning. All right, so I'm trying to figure out like how best to express this kind of like strangeness that I'm feeling. And for all intents and purposes, chapter 270 is like exactly what I expected and what I would expect from the ending of a series, right? We are coming off the heels of the climactic Sukuna battle, and with only a few chapters left, all that's left is the falling action leading into the resolution and, completion of this story. And so right in line with that, this chapter kind of checks in with everybody, checks in with all of our main cast, seeing kind of what they're up to now. Like, what is the rest of their lives going to look like before we, say goodbye forever? Like, so we can kind of imagine what shape their story will take here on out, right? So we check in with, Megumi, who is visiting his sister's grave with Shoko. And then he also has a little moment with Hannah to kind of check in on their dynamic. We check in with the sugar guy, right? Who is trying to lead a better life, be a better person, make his amends. We check in with Higuruma, who we find out is not going to be prosecuted for his murders that he committed, because instead the Jujutsu higher ups have plans for him, as a sorcerer. So his path moving forward will be in that direction, right? We check in with our main trio who are on a mission, just like old times. They are continuing as sorcerers, and in fact, they have one final mission that we're teased about that will take place in this final chapter. And so that's all very standard, right? Except there's two very strange things about this at the same time. And the first is Takaba's check-in, right? We see him at a cafe, sitting down, working on his comedy routine with his comedy partner, who just so happens to look like Kenjaku. He's got the exact same ghetto hairstyle, although conveniently, we can't see the face, so we don't know exactly what's going on here. And I talked a little bit about this in my leaks video, but I think there's two possibilities here. Either that is Kenjaku by way of Takaba's reality warping technique, like he brought him back because he thought it would be funny or he wanted him to be back, right? Or I think it's not Kenjaku, not Geto, it's just some random that Takaba has like forced to dress like that or look like that, either because he missed Kenjaku and that amazing time he had with him, or he just thought that would be funny. Like, if he thought back to Kenjaku and their routine, he was like, man, that was so good. I need to recreate that. So let me hire somebody and they can fill that role. And he's taking it to the limit of having them dress and look like him as well, right? Now, that is obviously a huge troll if that's the case, but it would line up for me and, it would make sense to me if it was. But also, what if it's really Kenjaku? In either case, very strange, right? And then the other strange thing is just the complete absence of Gojo. And for anybody that like is about to yell in the comments of let him rest, that's not what I'm talking about. I just mean any mention whatsoever. Like, we started at a literal grave, and I know most people probably had to think that was Gojo's grave, but it wasn't. It was Sumiki's. But that was like the perfect opportunity to just loop in a mention or a reference or something in that moment, and yet there was nothing. Like, there really has been two like minuscule moments ever since Gojo's death that he's been mentioned at all. And that's just extremely strange, especially in a chapter that is full of this type of resolution. So like, what's up with that? Why has there been such a weird void surrounding this? Now, I chose that picture of Gojo from the airport specifically because if you'll recall, the very last thing he says is, I'm hoping this isn't a dream. And the title of chapter 270, The End of the Dream. Like, what's going on here? Like, what is going on here? Because that title doesn't really seem to fit the content of the chapter we got, right? Again, we checked in with everybody and kind of got a glimpse of what they're going to be working on moving forward. So if anything, I feel like the start of the dream would be more apt, right? But the end of the dream, like, is this in reference to Gojo's last words in the airport and this could maybe be related to him? Like, that's like, I don't know. Like, could it be something in that realm? Could it be something in the realm of like everything we saw in this chapter isn't real? Like, maybe this is the end of the dream that we're seeing. Like, this has all been some sort of false reality. This has been a theory that, granted, is out there, but has existed for a while, that like the events we've been seeing transpire in the recent chapters, like, is not real. Like they're either being tricked or, it's the effects of Yuji or somebody's domain expansion. And this is like a kind of what if, or again, maybe they're even like in terms of Naruto, like trapped in an infinite Tsukiyomi or something like that. But yeah, is it in reference to that, or could it be in reference to just Gojo's ideals, his hopes, right? The fact that he would raise up a generation of sorcerers to surpass him and improve jujutsu society. And in that way, I could kind of make it connect because we're seeing the younger next generation of sorcerers and what they're all up to, the paths that they're on moving forward, hopefully trying to make the world a better place, right? The trio on their mission, Higuruma going to become a sorcerer and do things in that realm, Sugar Guy trying to be a better person. So is it in reference to that like Gojo was successful? But in that case, a weird way to kind of phrase it. And then what adds even more spice to this is the fact that Kenjaku called the rift between dreams and reality the cursed realm, right? So like is something in that neighborhood going on right now? It's just strange, right? Because there could be all of these crazy possibilities here alluded to by this chapter title and just the strange absence of Gojo, the strange appearance of Kenjaku potentially. So is there something really weird going on? Or no, because again, 270 felt like a very typical end of series chapter to me. Like, again, fully what I expected, save for these really weird couple of things. So I really don't know what to make of it. I still fully expect something to develop with Gojo in this final chapter. That absence is just too strange to me. Like, it almost feels like too much attention is being called to it. Like, it would have been far, far easier to just have a single line of dialogue, or them to visit his grave as well when they were visiting Sumiki. It's so strangely absent. It's like the negative space that Gege has created in that way. And again, before anybody like jumps in the comments calling cope and saying, let them rest, all that jazz, I'm not saying that Gojo is going to fully resurrect and live happily ever after. Maybe he will, but that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I feel like there needs to be some piece of resolution to like close the chapter on this whole situation that we have still not gotten yet. And again, a chapter full of that type of resolution and, kind of packaging things nicely with a bow. So yeah, I still fully expect to get something like that in the last chapter, but like what other shape this story might take, granted all that strangeness I just referenced, I don't know. And the biggest thing here is that there's only one chapter left. So that's what makes me think that like it couldn't be some sort of like false reality that we've all been living in, because that just like, how would we resolve that in the space of one chapter? So yeah, there's just a whole bunch of different like conflicting ideas in my head right now. So I wanted to just kind of spew this word vomit in y'all's direction and see what you guys thought about it. So let me know down below. And in the meantime, we're going to keep, percolating on all of this, and we'll have more videos coming soon. But as always, y'all, thank you so much for watching.